Evolve Skateboards. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Lee and I'm a DIY electric skateboard builder, and if you're new here on this channel, we normally do DIY e-skate content. We build them, we ride them, we race them, we have a good time with our friends. However, occasionally I feel compelled to talk about stuff that's normally outside of the scope of things that I do, and today is one of those days. Before we get into the video though, guys, I just want to address my appearance. I've been really unwell for the last 3 weeks. I was ill for 2 weeks, then I had a couple of days where I felt better, and now all of a sudden I'm getting ill again. Pretty sketchy. I've been inside essentially for 3 weeks, and hence the massive haircut, and I just look a mess. But anyway, we're going to get into the video. So we're going to talk about that video from Evolve Skateboards. Now, I'm not going to make you watch the whole video and react to it like some of the other guys have already done, because frankly, you've possibly already seen it once or twice. I just want to give you my thoughts on the matter. I mean, I have a YouTube channel and I have 1,600 subscribers, which gives me a platform to talk about stuff, and I will use that platform to talk about stuff, and I will call out bad behavior when I see it. I always give my honest thoughts on this channel, guys, and I'm going to do it now about this video. The video in question is the Evolve GTR Carbon versus X-Way Flex versus Evolve Stoke board comparison that Evolve Electric Skateboards put up onto their channel the other day. Now, I didn't see the video at first because, to be honest, I don't really follow the Evolve YouTube channel. It's not really the sort of content that I personally am interested in. However, I see that if you owned an Evolve or you are looking to buy one, it'd be a really good, channel to follow. But for me, not really. So, guys, I was perusing Instagram the other day and I saw a statement from X-Way Boards addressing the video, and I thought, what's this? Went and checked the video out, and quite frankly, guys, I was appalled. What an absolute shit show, Evolve. You should not be putting content like this out on your channel. But anyway, I watched the video, and essentially it was a comparison between three boards that are completely different in different categories, with some meaningless tests, and that try to convey a message that Evolve skateboards are better than China brands now, and that is what he says in the video multiple times: China boards, which is disingenuous, guys, because guess what? The Evolve Carbon GTR in the video was made in China, as are 98% of the things that you guys buy, that we own, all made in China. And the quality does vary indeed. It doesn't always vary with the price that the end user pays, but it does vary. However, I think the X-Way Flex has had a bit of a beating in this video unnecessarily, and I'll tell you why. The tests performed had absolutely nothing to do with showing the performance of these boards. They were just there to convince you guys that the Evolve GTR Carbon is a superior board. And well, frankly, it wants to be. To buy an Evolve GTR Carbon here in the UK, I'd have to pay about £1,500 to £1,600. However, I could get the X-Way Flex for £650. Bit of a difference, because they're two different boards for two different purposes. You've got one board, a flexible, lightweight cruiser commuter board, last mile vehicle, and the other one, a heavier off-road vehicle. I mean, they're not even comparable, Evolve. Why would you even put them in the same category? I was fully expecting to look at that title, you would assume it would be the Evolve GTR Bamboo versus the Own Board Bamboo. Two skateboards that are really close together and would make for a good comparison video. However, not by Evolve Skateboards. You guys are supposed to be a premium brand, offering a premium service to customers. You can't go around trashing other brands on your YouTube channel. That's not what your YouTube channel's for. That's what my YouTube channel's for, and other people like me, testing boards and giving honest opinions. You're biased. You can't give opinions about other people's boards against your own, guys. It's not acceptable. Now, I've spoken to Jay Boston, and I've spoken to Matty Rogers, and I've spoken to a few other people about this. And yeah, there's a lot more to the scenario, the circumstances of how Evolve got this board from Jay, and I hope for Jay's sake that Evolve come clean and talk a bit more about that, because Jay Boston was thrown under the bus a little bit, guys. And now I know there's quite a lot of negativity out there against Jay, and yeah, he did fuck up, man. And I've spoken to him this morning about it and told him, you know, he fully puts his arms up and says, yeah, you know, I did mess up. I shouldn't have let him have the board. However, I don't think the full circumstances of what's happened have been conveyed properly, and I think that Evolve could go a long way by deleting this video and talking about it maybe a little bit and just apologising to everybody involved. It's really unprofessional of you guys to put this sort of stuff out. However, anyway, I won't go too far into it, but it's a series of rubbish tests that try to prove Evolve's supremacy over the X-Way Flex, and all they do is cement in your mind the fact that Evolve are being very pretentious and have something to fear from these China boards. Now, I fully expect that Evolve are worried. In the wake of boosted boards going down the pan, the same thing could happen to Evolve skateboards, but the way to overcome that is not to trash other brands on your channel. The way to do that is to promote your own brand and your own boards. Now, I have nothing against the GTR board. In my opinion, it's the first board that Evolve have produced that I think actually that's a pretty good board, and they fly off the shelves, they sell themselves. So why do you need to produce videos like this, guys? It just really bloody irks me. So anyways, I've spent a bit of time gathering the specs of both boards, and I've thrown them into an awesome resource called the Esk8 News Calculator. And it's basically a bit of software on the internet that allows you to put all the specs of the boards into the calculator, and it will show you the estimated real world performance. And I think there's some interesting stuff in there for you. So what I've done is I've put the specs for the Evolve GTR Carbon into the calculator, and I've put the specs for the X-Way Flex into the calculator, and we're going to have a look how they stack up. First of all, the GTR Carbon. It's a 10S 4P configuration battery. What does that mean? It means it's got 10 batteries in series and 4 in parallel, making it a 14 amp hour battery. Each cell is 3.5 amp hours capacity times 4, 14 amp hour. However, the cells it uses is the Samsung 35E, which is renowned for giving poor output on the current. The maximum discharge for these cells are 10 amps each, and the maximum continuous discharge are 5 amps each, which means as the board gets a bit warm, as the battery gets a bit warm, the whole pack can only output 20 amps continuously. Now, these specs for the batteries, everybody uses a website called Mooch. They are basically look at all the different batteries for vapors, and they do tests of all the batteries, and they give you the real specs. So that's the specs of the Evolve GTR Carbon battery. So once you've put all of the stuff for the battery and the drivetrain into the calculator, you get the specs on the right hand side, and you'll see here that it's saying that the maximum loaded speed, which is the speed of a rider on board, is 23 miles an hour. Now, if you guys own an Evolve, I don't own an Evolve, tell me if that is about right. 23 miles an hour maximum speed, that's what the calculator suggests. We have to ignore the estimated range on here, and that is because I haven't put in the average energy use into the drivetrain part, because I don't know what it is for an Evolve, but my friends tell me that they get, in pro mode, they get around about 20 miles. So we'll go with 20 miles as the range for the Evolve. Now, if you go further to the right hand side, you'll see here what I said earlier. It's a 14 amp hour battery, total battery energy of 504 watt hours. Continuous power, this is the maximum continuous power that this board can put out, 720 watts, and maximum battery peak power, 1440 watts. And there you go, continuous discharge 20 amps and max discharge 40 amps. Now, that's really important, because that means that as this board starts getting low on power, it's going to start sagging a little bit. It's going to be more noticeable because only 20 amps can come out of the battery at once. It's 720 watts, continuous maximum power. So then I went ahead and did exactly the same thing for the X-Way Flex. That's a Sony VTC 6-pack in a 12S 2P configuration. I also put the motor and the drivetrain stuff in there as well, and you can see here that tells you that the maximum loaded speed of the X-Way Flex is 24.1 miles an hour, which is 1 mile an hour faster than the Carbon GTR. The estimated range is at 14.4 miles. I think it'll be slightly less than that. I think that this board is going to do 10 to 12 miles based on my experiences with similar batteries. The total battery watt hour is 259, so that's quite a bit less than the Carbon GTR. The continuous power, though, it can put out is 1,296 watts, and the maximum is 1,728 watts, which is actually higher than the rated output of the motors. Now, I'm sure that they're cutting that back a little bit to keep within the spec of the motors to stop them from overheating, but that tells you, together with the continuous discharge and max discharge of the amps, that this board is going to suffer or not suffer from sag as much as the GTR. This is going to have a much more linear power feeling from the battery full to the battery completely discharged. The Sony VTC 6 cell is a very, very good cell, and it also means that in medium to high speeds that the X-Way Flex is going to accelerate faster than the Carbon GTR. The Carbon GTR will beat it off the line ever so slightly because it's geared lower. It's actually 1 mile an hour slower in the top speed than the X-Way Flex. But the X-Way Flex battery can put out a lot of power compared to the GTR. So it's going to be better at climbing hills, it's going to be better at medium to fast acceleration, and it's going to have it's going to be less susceptible to sag. And I think that's really important for the way a board feels, which is another thing that video did not mention, rider feel. It didn't mention the remotes, it didn't mention the different customization options. There's a lot of stuff that video didn't mention, and I hope that these quick look at these specs here are going to show you that it's not all in a 0 to, you know, whatever that was, 50-meter acceleration test. There's a lot of stuff about boards that are how it makes you feel, how comfortable you are, how versatile it is, how light it is. You know, the X-Way Flex is 5 pounds lighter than the Carbon GTR and comes in street wheels only. It's a completely different category of board. So yeah, I was really disappointed to see this video from Evolve Boards. I don't think this is the sort of content a premium skateboard maker should be making, and I just beside myself to see Matty and Jeff both defending the video online, and they said they're going to put it up against the Lacroix next, and I hope they do, because the Lacroix will absolutely monster them. There's no chance that that board is better than Lacroix in any metric other than probably sharp turns because of the double kingpin trucks. The Lacroix will accelerate faster, will have longer range, and it's an all-round better board. So guys, please don't think that I'm hating Evolve, because actually I don't. I quite like the GTR, and I quite like the difference that they bring. I mean, the boards here in the UK are super popular, so they're obviously doing something right. So Evolve, you just do not need to make videos like this. Matty, it's not professional, and Jeff, you just stop what you're doing, think about it. So guys, in summary, I think Evolve, this video is really unprofessional. It's not the sort of content a premium electric skateboarding brand should be coming out with, and I think you should be pretty embarrassed to put this up on your channel. The fact that you haven't deleted the video in the face of all the backlash and you haven't issued an apology yet, I think is pretty disappointing. And I hope that you've learned some stuff from this, and that we don't see more rubbish content like this on your channel. I think that you guys could do some awesome stuff with the marketing budget and the people you've got, and you don't need to resort to lame content like this. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you found it a little bit insightful. I didn't want to ramble on too much, so I've tried to keep it short and sweet. Again, really sorry for my appearance. I've not been very well. In fact, I'm still not very well, and I hope that in the next week or so I'm going to be feeling a lot better, so I can get some more content out on this channel before we get locked down with this coronavirus. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you on the next one.